So originally, the first time I got it, it was a requirement for me to get my apartment. So I didn't really have a choice. And I actually got it through Nationwide because I do my car insurance, right? So you can bundle it. Not like renter's insurance is super expensive, but you can save a little bit of money by bundling it. And then when I moved, it's no longer required where I live, but I just kept the policy and rolled it over. Um, just because I felt like it was has some value. If someone did break into my house and steal all my stuff, I think I could end up tapping into it. I know a couple years ago, one of the things that triggered me to keep it is I broke my phone actually, and I was at my house and I used my renter's insurance. I had a deductible, but it covered some of it. So when I initially got it, I kind of just walked around my house and was looking at, okay, what are these ticket items that I really want to make sure are insured? So I'm looking at like my TV, my laptop, everything of that nature. And I just valued them at what I remembered paying for them. Now, obviously I'm sure they depreciate over time, right? Because there's new models and stuff. So I just kind of tried to look at, okay, how much did I pay for these? And then when it came to some of like my jewelry and wardrobe and things like that, I kind of just tried to think of, okay, on average, how much do I pay for each piece of this? Because I have some stuff that's much pricier than other stuff, like gotten some stuff at a thrift store, but then I also have some like designer things that are expensive. So I kind of just tried to take an average and look at everything and say, okay, how much was it? But honestly, it was a guess because some of these things I'd had for years and I don't have the receipts. I mean, I don't, maybe I probably should keep better records of my stuff, but I don't. So I was just writing things down with a number and then I added it up at the end. And I believe when I did it, it was in categories. I think there was like electronic, if I remember correctly. I think it was in categories. So then I just broke it down into the categories and gave an estimate of the value that should be covered. And I remember correctly, there was like an opportunity to list, it didn't ask me like my model of my TV or anything, right? But I'd say like TV value this, and it asked for some line items, but I'm trying to remember like, because I was thinking like I have quite a few purses. It's kind of a problem, but they do have a value. And I'm trying to remember if I listed those out or if I just gave a general number. I did this a few years back, and honestly, I haven't updated it since. I think it's around like $100 a year total. So I just paid it in bulk. I think it would be different dependent upon, your income constraints and things like that. I know when I was like in college, $115 felt like a lot, but
Hmm.
now things are a little bit different. So um, that's kind of how I look. I mean, I think yeah, it's definitely under $200 a year. That's actually really funny you asked that because my boyfriend's car got stolen this weekend. This is crazy. They stole the golf clubs out of it. The car insurance, they got the car back. The car insurance didn't cover it, but the golf clubs, his homeowner's insurance covered it. But basically, I went in and I printed off because they asked for documentation that you owned the item, right? So it's a little bit easier when you have a phone bill because you can say, okay, my phone's listed on here. And so I provided them my phone bill so that it showed how much because I was on like a payment plan for the phone. So it showed like how much I was paying a month for the actual device and then the model of the device. But I think like he doesn't have receipts for all of his clubs. That's something like you acquire over time. So they just asked him for a picture. Oh, no.
Okay.
So maybe find some in the background of like pictures of my dogs. Like, there's my TV, but you know what I mean? Like, no, I haven't done that.
Uh,
Maybe I'm just not tapping into this and it does exist. But I think if it was a little bit easier, like obviously you can't take a picture when something's stolen or a house burns down. Typically, when you need to file a claim, you probably don't have the item anymore. Maybe if it's broken, like you can send that. Yeah, I think if they could just streamline the process, and I think I mean, there would definitely be accountability on the user end. Now that I just have this example from last weekend, and we were just talking about it, I think taking pictures of your stuff is important because it could be a key factor, unless you're keeping every receipt, which you probably aren't. Um, or taking pictures of your receipts and maybe having somewhere where you've electronically filed those, just so you always have that proof that you owned the item. Maybe doing your homework to see what companies are the best. I know sometimes it's hard to file a claim. Um, and like coverage can be different and not everything's always covered. So making sure you understand your plan, which I really don't know all the details of mine, but should probably look. It auto pools and I don't pay any attention to it. So I could check it. I don't know my username, so I have to do.
Okay.
I want to say it was like $35,000. Now,
Uh-huh.
granted, it was a few years ago, and I have acquired more stuff and not updated that. Which I now that we're talking about it, this maybe is a good conversation for me.